Find this code at roxetta.com. Look for the JavaScript Machine Learning tutorials. Today we're going to use matrix math to solve a real-life problem that most people would use simultaneous equations to solve. Open up the great website mathisfun.com/algebra/matrix-inverse.html. Move down the page to a real-life example bus and train. Here's the situation. A group took a trip on a bus at $3 per child and $3.20 per adult for a total of $118.40. They took the train back at $3.50 per child and $3.60 per adult for a total of $135.20. In high school, we get taught to solve something like this with simultaneous equations. Something like 3x plus 3.2y equals 118.40 and 3.5x plus 3.6y equals 135.20, where x equals children and y equals adults. Get rid of one of the unknowns either by subtracting one equation from the other or substituting one equation inside the other and solve for one of the unknowns. Then come back to either of the equations and solve for the final unknown. Many online simultaneous equation solvers will do the math for you. The answer is 16 for x and 22 for y, so 16 children and 22 adults. This type of math can also be done with matrices. Technique is outlined using a 1D array called x, where x1 represents the children and x2 represents the adults. They're both unknowns. A 2x2 2D array called A holds the costs per person, and another 1D array called B is for the total prices. Setup is x times A equals B. So to solve for x, we need B times the inverse of A. Solving a vector inverse is interesting since it's a certain pattern on the matrix. Look at the diagram and solve the pattern. Then multiply the two vectors to get your result, kind of like magic. The result being 16 children and 22 adults. Looking at the code, I have had to make a helper function to take a 2x2 2D array inverse. This is a great time to show how to extend a Deeplearnjs class. I extended the Deeplearnjs class ndArrayMath to be called my ndArrayMath. And it does the inverse of a 2x2 matrix, doing exactly what the above example said to do on the website. So the code creates my math, which we have seen before. Then my class from my extended ndArrayMath. The code prints out to the web page the original problem and then sets up two main matrices, 2x2 costs called my matrix original and the total price matrix called my vector 1D. The first sub calculation is taking the inverse of the cost and putting the results into my result, then printing the information to the screen. Finally, calculating the answer my result 2 by using the Deeplearnjs method vector times matrix and printing it with its array shape. Most of this code has been shown in previous videos. Pushing the button, we get the version of Deeplearnjs 0.4.2, the description of the problem, and it prints out the intermediate values for the inverse of the cost matrix and gives the final shape of 2. The answer becomes 16 children and 22 adults. So matrix math can solve simultaneous equations. An extension to this example would be to use JavaScript to set up input boxes to use this code to solve many different types of simultaneous equation calculations. Remember to check out www.deeplearnjs.org.